I'm black, y'all. I'm bliggity, bliggity, bliggity black, y'all. I'm black, y'all. I'm black, y'all. I'm bliggity, bliggity, bliggity. Give me a one if you could hear me okay. I shouldn't even be live right now. Give me a one if you could hear me okay. I shouldn't be live right now, but I just had a thought, I had an epiphany. I had to get with y'all tonight and just talk about it. Give me a one if you can hear me okay. Give me a one if you can see me okay. Just let me know that we are fully locked in right here. You know how the saying go, if we locked in, ain't no switching up this whole situation. Give me a one in the comments if we're all good. Okay, I got a one. I got the one that I needed. So people know that we up here. Okay, um, we love to say we don't need a leader. We stand on the block, chin up, chest out, talking about I'm my own man, while we're being marched like soldiers in an infantry into wars that aren't even ours. The leaderless people, black folks, the ones who don't need a leader, are out here being hamstrung and led along into other people's battles where if we win, we don't even benefit, but we fight and we suffer political and economic casualties all the same. How is it that a group of people with no leadership consistently ends up on the front lines for everybody else? Ask yourself that. How can a group of people who don't need a leader always seems to end up on the front lines of everybody's battles? We're literally the shock troopers for illegal immigration. You see Mexicans out there fighting and arguing and shit. It's black people right up in front of the crowd with them screaming. Don't even know what we screaming about. But we'll leave the protest where we defend La Raza and then go to the job where we are discriminated against along racial lines by the same Hispanics who we just were defending. If I'm lying, I'm flying. If I'm lying, I'm flying. And I'm big as hell, so you know I can't fly. We're the foot soldiers for white, liberal, blue hair freaks who literally call the police on us if we walk through their neighborhoods too late at night. The only black person they trust is a black person that's homeless, sleeping in a tent, defecating on the damn sidewalk. And we're the loudest voices, the vanguard. We hollering at the top of our lungs for every marginalized group except the one staring back at us in the mirror. We can fight for everybody else but ourselves. But here's the thing. If you don't need a leader, and I understand that sentiment, maybe black people feel like we've been screwed over by leaders for too long. If you don't need a leader, why the hell is it that you got so many leaders, but none of them look like you? The white female liberal is running point, dragging black folks into every damn conflict, every damn cause that she decides to fight for. You have black folks marching and tripping over Renee Good and Alex Preddy, two white people who decided to go and fight the police. The same black folks who would say, if that would have been one of us, well, when it's not one of us and a white person, meets their maker, we out in the street tripping and protesting. But if it had been one of us, we would have never even missed work on behalf of this situation. Then you got groups like the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center. They talk about fighting hate and bigotry. They talk about fighting racism, fighting to end racism. But the indictments are telling us a different story. Remember Charlottesville, where they claim Trump said there are good people on both sides in the Unite the Right rally? Well, guess what? They helped pay for it. Millions of dollars funneled from black pockets into the very groups they claim to oppose, just to keep racism alive, just so the industrial racism complex can survive. They manufacture the ghost so that they can sell you the exorcism. And we fall for it every single time. That's because you have no leadership. You have no one that you respect who can call these people out for what they're doing, which is so obvious. Even in the comments right now, you got somebody who's saying, "Oh, you're CIA." You know why he's dumb enough to believe that I'm CIA? Because there's no leader who can give us instructions on how to recognize somebody who is CIA or COINTELPRO. He can say, "Brandon, you're CIA." And I can say, "Idiot, you're CIA." And no one would know who was really CIA. It's like the old song goes, "If I had ID, I wouldn't need ID." Remember the 90 million that Black Lives Matter collected on behalf of Black people for our trauma from the deaths of Black men and boys at the hands of law enforcement? Remember the empire that they built on the backs of our fathers, sons, and even mothers in some cases? Where's the Black economy? Where are the banks that could have been open with that 90 million to give low interest loans to Black people who were trying to buy houses and trying to start businesses? Where's the land that could have been purchased with that $90 million that they received from the so-called racists on behalf of the Black community? Where are the grocery stores that they promised? They're gone. Actually, for them to be gone, they had to have been here at one point, but you know the game. They vanished. They turned into mansions and administrative fees because we had no leadership in place to demand an audit and hold them accountable. We were too busy being activists to be accountants. We are literally held hostage by our own ego and stubbornness. But the problem is we mistake being stubborn and egotistical for strength. We think being unbossed, not having nobody over the top of us to give us instructions and direction, makes us free. But it actually makes us a target. It actually sends a message to every other group. These niggas are disposable. We're nothing more than a bunch of political mercenaries for whatever liberal or minority group that wants to use us at the time. I'm being real with you. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying. We're literally political mercenaries. They use us, get what they want out of us, and then they throw us to the side like nothing. Look at this kid who just tried to assassinate the president, Cole Thomas Allen. A man so hollowed out by white liberal media talking points that he thought a hit list was a manifesto for progress. This dude was so indoctrinated on white liberal media talking points. And when I say that, I mean ideas that Black people never had until the white liberal mainstream media introduced them to us. I remember the day Hillary Clinton said that Trump colluded with Russia, right? Right? I remember that. I remember a couple of weeks later going to my mom's house and she talking about Russia. Trump is colluding with Russia. Before Hillary Clinton said that, because Trump was not even running for the presidency, no one thought he would. I never heard my mom mention Russia at all, ever in my life. But I knew when she brought it up that she had been indoctrinated by the mainstream media, led by the Clinton family, in making up this story that Trump was a Russian asset. And that's how it works. One of our great ancestors, he's not even ancestor, he's still alive, Les Brown, best damn motivational speaker this side the Mississippi, said if you do not program yourself, someone else will program you. If you do not program your children, someone else will program them. And we see it in real time. We refuse to teach our children. Every day we hand their precious brains off over to white folks and the radical liberals who have infiltrated our education system. And they are indoctrinating our children and making them Manchurian candidates to carry out idiotic suicide missions on behalf of the white liberal machine. This is Cole Thomas Allen. They indoctrinated this brother so fully that he threw away his life at the age of 26 years old in an attempt to assassinate a 80-year-old decrepit old man. Think about that. You have to be brainwashed to throw a 26-year-old life away in an attempt to assassinate a 80-year-old man. The logic. This man was not a dummy. He was a computer scientist and a mechanical engineer with a fellowship and a residency at NASA at the age of 26 years old. He had just won Teacher of the Year in the Los Angeles County School District. And he was so totally indoctrinated by them folks, as Phil Scott would say, that he was willing to throw his life away like a radical Muslim suicide bomber in an attempt to kill an 80-year-old man who in 2 years will not be president and probably in a couple years after that will be dead and forgotten. Listen to me, y'all. There's something that is not natural about the way this all went down. So while you're telling me I'm CIA, no. Black folks just elected the CIA over in Virginia. Don't play with me. Ain't it funny how we only got a problem with the alphabet boys when they look like us, but when it's a white person, we ready to vote for them. If you say, Brandon, you CIA, I say, screw you. Niggas just voted 85% for the CIA in Virginia to turn around and raise their taxes. Now they crying. We ain't got no problem with no damn CIA. We love the police. You go to a prison, ask any guard, who the number one group of people in their snitching? The blacks. They snitch on each other for a cookie, an apple. Black folks get online and snitch on each other every damn day. And all of a sudden, you CIA, you FBI. But the same Negroes will be talking about, we need more blacks in law enforcement, though. The same Negroes disparaging other black people, accusing us to be a part of law enforcement, get in front of white folks and be like, we need more we need more police officers that look like us. And then call themselves revolutionaries who are fighting the establishment. You know, Cole Thomas Allen thought he was a revolutionary, but he wasn't a revolutionary. Like many of our people, he was a damn fool. He was literally a product in a factory that turns confused kids into political projectiles, radicalizing young black minds because they know we are the only ones with the warrior spirit to actually go carry this shit out. He wasn't a coward like that boy in Boston who sat up on a roof with the sniper rifle and tried to, let me try to hit the president and missed. He wasn't a coward like that boy in Utah who sat up on the roof. Oh, let me try to kill Charlie Kirk from 200 feet away, 200 yards away. Bro had that warrior energy. He ran in. He didn't say, let me sit back and try to hit him while he's walking out. He ran into the heart of the security and tried to do what he thought was best for his country, or what he believed in his messed up mind was best for his country. Let me tell you something. When you refuse to follow your own righteously, black men and black women who care about your well-being, you end up being steered by a stranger. What would you have told Cole Thomas Allen? Just sit back and think about that for a second. If a young Cole Thomas Allen came to you, would you have said, look, son, we know that you don't like what's going on, but the way you express your dissatisfaction and your disagreement with what is being done by our government is by going into the ballot box, going to the voter booth and casting your vote for someone who aligns with your ideas and your morals. What you don't do is throw away your life, a very valuable life, a genius, y'all. We've lost to prison, a genius level intellect. We've lost to prison because he was convinced by people that are not us that going to kill an 80-year-old man was worth spending the rest of his life in jail. That lack of structure is why movements like FBA, ADOS, and other delineation movements have become a breeding ground for fraud. That's what happened. Cole Thomas Allen was misled by a con artist, grifting group of people in the white liberal mainstream media. Rachel Maddow sit on her television show and talk hot shit. Like, oh, Trump this, Trump that, he's bad, he's a threat to democracy. You don't see her picking up no gun and rushing the president. Karen Basura, mayor of LA, talks big shit about Donald Trump and how he's a threat to democracy and we got to fight Donald Trump. She was just at the White House yesterday or on Friday, kissing Trump's whole asshole, trying to get this federal money sent to Los Angeles to fight homelessness, which they'll just steal. You could look at Joe Scarborough, the guy from Morning Joe. The minute President Trump was elected, Joe Scarborough was at the White House kissing his ass. Gavin Newsom, during COVID, when Gavin Newsom needed masks and other supplies, he was on the phone in 2 seconds kissing Trump's hind parts to get what he needed. Black folks are the only mercenary, leaderless soldiers out here risking everything so that we can help prop up groups who will abandon us politically the minute they get what they want. Bro, I live in LA County. I could tell you from experience, they're going to march with you side by side like the Mexicans did the Negroes in the 60s. And as soon as they get some footing and gain some ground, they are going to eliminate you from the playing field. Because they understand that this is a war of resources. And when you need those resources, you don't go against one group based on morals and all this other bullcrap black folks try to claim we have a superior sense of. It's an exchange. What can you do for me and I'll do something for you? Better known as quid pro quo. What did Cole Thomas Allen negotiate to receive for him and his family if he were successful in assassinating President Trump? He could have went to Iran. Hey, I'm going to take this fool out for y'all. What y'all going to give me? Too stupid. Thought he was fighting for a bunch of victims who no one can prove were actually victims. Oh, Trump's a pedophile. Trump's this, Trump that. Same stuff you hear 13-year-old, the same stuff you hear 19-year-old kids talking about on the internet. He was indoctrinated by people like Dean Withers and Adam Mockler. Here's the difference. You know what their young white warriors do? They don't go try to run down the president and gun him down. They go sit on CNN and in MSDNC, in the Young Turks, and get paid thousands and thousands of dollars to give their delusional opinion on politics. But not the blacks, not the young black men. Show me one black liberal being invited onto mainstream media to give their opinion on Donald Trump and how the Republicans are bad. I'll wait for you. I'll wait for you to tell me who they are. because we get to go to the front lines to do the dying while they sit back after indoctrinating us and reap the rewards. You saw it with Black Lives Matter. You saw it with George Floyd. We went and tore shit up over George Floyd, and the only people who got anything out of that was Asian people, because the first thing Biden did when he got in office was do the anti-Asian hate bill. How did you win? Black people keep fighting for other people's wins, and I, for one, am getting sick of it. All we get to do is go back to our hovel and argue over how we not really Africans, we indigenous and everything else. Stupid. And that's enough for us. We leave our internal civil war where we're steadily trying to eliminate each other through delineation to go fight for other groups. Once we finish fighting for other groups, they say, here, Tariq Nasheed, hey, here, Yvette Carnell, hey, Roland Martin, hey, Cornell West. Y'all take these niggas back and keep them confused and disoriented until we need them again, till we need to tell them what to think again. It pisses me off. The lack of structure in our community is damn near demonic. We're so hungry to try to establish an identity that's everything but our own that we'll buy it. We'll literally purchase an identity from anyone with a loud enough microphone. As long as they got a super polished YouTube thumbnail, we're their slave. Tell us what to think. It's literally time for us to stop trying to be the world's emotional janitors. We have to start being builders. If we don't build up a wall of leadership around our own interest, we'll keep being the fuel for a fire that only keeps other people warm while we stand outside in the cold. You know it's true. You can deny it all you want to, but we've gone from being young and youthful to having gray in our beard, seeing the same story play out day in, day out, like we're on repeat. Like, am I lying? Am I lying? We're on repeat. And slowly but surely, these people are painting us as the true threat to this country. The assassins used to be white boys, John Wilkes Booth and people like that, right? Dylan Roof. But they're slowly radicalizing our youth to make them the poster child of liberal radicalism in this country. We're not indoctrinated. Like, I don't understand our people. We fight for everybody to win except ourselves. Did Cole Thomas Allen, did he write in his manifesto how what he was doing was going to benefit black folks? This guy talked about children in Iran and little kids getting molested and all types of shit. Well, why didn't he go kill Bill Clinton? Because he was on Epstein Island. You understand what I'm saying? Why didn't he go get Prince Andrew, someone who was literally on the island with Epstein? Why didn't he go get Bill Gates? He could have probably got close to Bill Gates and took him out. We have literal proof that those people have done something. That's how you know it is indoctrination. When 50 men have done something and it's proven, but you're going after the one guy who you have yet to receive proof that they did anything, you're indoctrinated. Why didn't this guy go after Bill Gates? He's a mechanical engineer. He's a computer scientist. He's a fellow and a resident at NASA. He could have got in a room with Bill Gates like nothing. And it is a proven fact that Bill Gates was on Epstein Island doing everything Epstein was doing because he brought back his wife a disease from Epstein Island and tried to cover it up. If you're Cole, I hope you see this, you spineless bastard. If you were on a hunt to defend children and Christianly values and all this freaking nonsense you're talking about, why didn't you go get the people you could have got to easily? It ain't hard to get in a room with Bill Gates. It's probably significantly less difficult to get into a room with Bill Clinton than it is to get in a room with President Trump. I'm sure you can get in a room with Prince Andrew some kind of way with all the technological stuff that bro was doing. And there are other people who weren't Epstein Island. There are people mentioned, all damn day in those Epstein files. Why didn't you start from the bottom and work your way up? Because it had nothing to do with doing what was right or protecting victims. It had everything to do with being a programmed Manchurian candidate cog in the radical, woke, far left extremist liberal machine. That's all he was. And he'll spend the rest of his life living with the decisions that he made. Horrible decisions, but he has to live with it. My heart really goes out to this dude's family. Even though I know his parents were probably a couple radical cuck liberals, probably sitting up indoctrinating him without even knowing it. He was at Caltech. Like I told you guys, Caltech makes Harvard look like preschool. And we know about our colleges and our institutions of higher learning. The farther up the educational ladder you go, the more woke and radicalized it becomes. I believe we should sue the teachers unions. I think parents should sue the teachers unions for radicalizing and indoctrinating our children. 100% Ray Thel Jordan. He was nothing but a black ass crash test dummy looking stupid. Trying to go kill the president and didn't even come close. How dumb do you gotta be, bro? How dumb can you be? This boy got all the book smarts in the world, but none of the common sense in the world. All the book smarts in the world, but none of the common sense. They're talking to this guy's neighbors now in his Torrance neighborhood. I told you this boy wasn't struggling at all. Still living with mommy and daddy, working, doing whatever he wanted. Just getting radicalized. Even his sister snitched him out and said that when she would talk to him on the phone, he would be like saying kind of like crazy stuff about having to do something about what was going on in this country. Let me tell you something to all you young punks out here. You elect representative. We live in a representative republic, right? We're governed by representative democracy within a republic. You literally vote for people to go to Washington and work for you. If anybody should be taking a shot at President Trump, it should be these no good representatives that we're all voting for. It shouldn't be some 26-year-old kid with his whole life ahead of him. That's what I'm telling you. These Democrats are using us, and they're using our children. And the minute Cole did what he did, the Democrats disowned bro. He's deranged. He's a radical. No one should ever do violence. Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, people every day telling you how MAGA is evil and you need to watch them and woo. Are they evil? Are they putting it into democracy, or is political violence never acceptable? Because if Trump is a predator and I go after a predator and you truly believe he's a predator, you should be at the courthouse defending me on Monday to keep me from going to jail for the rest of my life. I want all the liberals to pay attention to this. They will feed you the lines. They will give you the script. But the minute you act on that script physically, they are going to disown you. Listen to me. The minute you act on anything they say, they are going to disown you. It's going to be like that scripture in the Bible where Jesus said, many will come to me saying, Lord, Lord, didn't we do miracles in your name? Didn't we prophesy in your name? Didn't we teach in your name? And what did it say Jesus going to tell them in the end? Get away from me, you workers of lawlessness. He's going to say, I never knew you. Get away from me, you workers of lawlessness. That's how these kids are. They do the crime. They get put down. They look up. They on their way to the prison and they say, not a single Democrat is going to come to help me. Not a single Democrat is going to come to save me. Where are all the people on the internet? Trump's a pedophile. He was on Epstein Island. Are they going to take up a GoFundMe for this guy? You know what? He's not white enough. That's the problem.
I can't tell you anything about him. I just see him coming and going.
These are the neighbors.
Going to work or school. I don't know what he does.
So no interactions with
I haven't had
the parents?
The parents I'm friends with. I'm friends with his dad. They're very solid, peaceful, good people in the community.
Yeah.
So the only part I saw, because I was at a neighbor's house watching what was going on so I could get back into my house, was I saw the SWAT team show up. There was, I don't know if you guys were here, but there was like 25, 30 SWAT members with a big like SWAT truck out front. So we were waiting for them to do that, clear it, make sure that they felt like everything was safe, so that we could get back into our house. After that, then I think they started searching through the house, but I went to sleep after that.
So what can you tell us about this guy?
I don't really know anything about him. I know he lives there. I just know what I've read in the media coverage. I'm friends with his father, and his parents are very peaceful, very good people. But I don't know much about him.
So how long has he lived here?
I was given the estimate of 2 years. It could be longer. It could be 3 or 4. So I did recognize him, yeah, but I was aware of like all the commotion first, so that I knew something was going on.
So, but you never talked to him?
I can't remember ever talking to him. I don't even know that I really said hi to him. He kind of kept to himself.
Do you know that he was like teacher of the month?
No.
You didn't know
I
that?
didn't know any of that.
But,
I didn't know he was a teacher, to be honest with you.
How does he seem? Like a nice guy, quiet guy?
He's kept to himself, very quiet. Yeah.
Correspondents' dinner last night, a message written by the suspected gunman shedding some light into his actions that left a Secret Service agent shot. Hello, and thank you for joining us. You're watching Eyewitness News at 5, live on ABC 7, Hulu, and wherever you stream. I'm Jory Rand.
I'm Liz Nagy. He called himself a friendly federal assassin. That's how ABC News sources say Cole Allen, the suspected gunman at last night's White House Correspondents' Dinner, referred to himself in a message he sent to his family just before the shooting.
President Trump, the First Lady, and the Vice President were all on the dais when those shots were fired outside the ballroom. The suspect, 31-year-old Cole Allen from Torrance, accused of rushing past security and opening fire, hitting a Secret Service agent.
Someone said, I can only imagine what he was teaching in his class. He wasn't teaching radicalism because he was working at an Asian school. He was working at a school for Asians who are like trust fund kids. That's why he got Teacher of the Month. You're not getting a Teacher of the Month working in the ghetto. You're not getting Teacher of the Month working at a regular public school. He was working at a private school for Asian trust fund kids. That's how he got Teacher of the Month. Understand that. All that shit is political. He wasn't indoctrinating them. He was teaching them how to go and be better than he is, how to be smarter than he is, less emotional than he is. This guy got. He got indoctrinated. You could even tell from his pictures. He looked so healthy and happy and vibrant. Bro was actually on the news a long time ago. And if you see like how he looked on the news, you would be like, yo, this guy's a totally different person. Because what you guys might not understand, being a liberal is stressful. Come to California and go hang with the liberals. All they're doing is smoking cigarettes all damn day. Because being a liberal, being a person who is so emotionally unhinged is very stressful. And you can see it. You can see it on his face when you look at his mugshot and stuff. Compared to how he looked years back, compared to how this guy looked years back, he looks like a totally different person. This dude is 20. If you look at this picture, this man is 26-year-old bro, look like he in his 40s. It's stressful. Living this life where you're just like constantly like riled up. You wake up every day obsessed with what the president is doing. It's not sustainable. And that's why they have to like lash out, bro. That's why they have to just do something to like get the monkey off their back, so to speak. See, but no one's gonna tell you that. I want to find this other video. Bro, I'm telling you, this was one of our brightest minds, and he threw his life away. He became a soldier for a cause that don't give a fuck about him at all. I'm trying to show y'all this. Hold on, I'm trying to see if they got this video, bro. Okay, here you go. This is bro right here. This is bro when he was younger. Bro looks totally different. Look at him. That's not the same kid. That's not the same kid at all.
With Popeye's new $5 faves menu, you can get
Popeyes.
this, or this, or this, or this. And no one's stopping you from getting them all.
No,
Now
he
there's
was
an
a
idea.
mechanical engineer and a computer science.
Within the last 24 hours, we've learned a lot about that alleged gunman, Cole Allen from Torrance. He is a registered voter in LA County, but he's not registered with either political party. According to his LinkedIn profile, he's a trained mechanical engineer who graduated from Caltech back in 2017. Just last year, he earned his master's in computer science from Cal State Dominguez Hills. Allen describes himself as an indie game developer, and one such game credited to him is described on its Steam page as a skill-based, non-violent fighting game. Also last year, he posted to LinkedIn that he was named Teacher of the Month at the education company where he's believed to be currently employed.
In the hours after the shooting, when authorities learned that Cole Allen lived in Torrance, they descended on his home trying to learn more. Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes is live in Torrance for us this evening with exclusive video you'll only see here on Eyewitness News. Rob.
Yeah, residents here stunned to find out that the D.C. shooting suspect lived right over there at his parents' home. Now, meantime, we're learning that right before the shooting, he sent a message to his family spelling out his plans. Cole Allen, a 31-year-old Caltech engineering graduate and college prep tutor, now in custody, accused of opening fire at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. ABC News quoting sources that say Allen sent a message describing himself as, quote, a friendly federal assassin. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche saying it does appear that Allen was targeting people in the Trump administration, including the president. And an Eyewitness News exclusive, we interviewed a man who appeared to be Allen when he was a student at Caltech.
The idea with this is to prevent it from moving at all.
We found him at an aging conference. He had designed a new way to make wheelchairs safer.
The wheelchair brakes tend to lock the wheels, but don't actually lock the chair to the ground.
That was back in 2017. Today, according to his LinkedIn profile, Allen was working for C2 Education, a private company that prepares students for college entrance exams. That profile claiming C2 actually named him its Teacher of the Month in December 2024. In a written statement, the company today saying, we were shocked to hear the news of the horrifying incident that transpired at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. We are cooperating fully with law enforcement to assist them in their investigation. Violence of any kind is never the answer. Allen describes himself online as developing this video game called Boredom, what he calls an atomic fighting game. On the gaming platform Steam, one of the popular tags used to find it was Bullet Hell. Another was Shooter.
I was shocked. I didn't believe it. I thought, no, they're just saying that.
Today, Allen's Torrance neighbors are left reeling after finding out he's the man arrested in the D.C. shooting.
It's really surprising, really shocking. I'm sad for his family. You know, his parents are good people. They don't deserve this. They're school teachers, solid, like really solid members of the community.
Now, sources tell Associated Press that Allen's brother called police in Connecticut once he saw the message that his brother sent, but that call came 2 hours after the shooting. Meantime, Allen's sister told investigators that Allen bought the weapons legally in California and he kept them here at his parents' house without his parents knowing. Reporting live in Torrance, Rob Hayes, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Rob Hayes, thank you. And stay with Eyewitness News for the latest on the shooting at the White House Correspondents'
Now, let me ask y'all a philosophical question. If in his manifesto, Cole Thomas Allen said that he was trying to defend victims, He said, oh, this is for the children, the little girls that get assaulted, the women, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Cole, I'm with you. You want to defend the children. What you guys will understand is that this whole movement against pedophilia is just something that's being used by the liberals as an excuse to encourage violent behavior and radicalism amongst their followers. Because here's my thing. We just found out that there was a predator in Cole's home state, California, who was running for governor. Do you guys know about that? I don't know if you guys know about that. Do you guys know about Eric Swalwell? Do you know about the guy who was literally in the front runner to become governor of California, who was exposed as being a predator 2 weeks ago? Did you know about that? He had to literally leave the race because he was exposed as a predator by several females, 3 of whom said that he raped them, drugged them, and raped them. And there's even a video of him trying to take advantage of a woman in a hotel room with another Democrat senator out of Arizona. Well, Cole, if you're here to defend, if you're here to be Captain Save-A-Ho, why didn't you go after the predator who's sitting in your own backyard? This is him, Eric Swalwell, right? This is Eric Swalwell right in California, right?
A swift fall for Eric Swalwell as the California congressman faces multiple accusations of sexual assault. Less than 24 hours after leaving the race for governor, he announced plans to resign from the House of Representatives. His departure will come amid mounting political and legal pressures over the allegations, with lawmakers on both sides talking about trying to expel the Democratic congressman, and now we're hearing from one of his accusers.
I think it should have been done even sooner, but I'm glad that he did it. I don't think that putting him back into a congressional office would have been good for anybody. And I don't think those women in his office or on Capitol Hill in general should be around him for one more day.
So today, another victim held a press conference at Beverly Hills saying Swalwell assaulted her while they worked together in 2018. Her attorney says she's filing a police report with the LA County Sheriff's Department and sharing evidence with them, including text messages, journal entries, and photos.
My delay in taking action against Eric was driven by fear, not doubt. Fear of his political power, his background as an attorney, and his family law enforcement ties.
Swalwell denying the allegations, saying, quote, expelling anyone in Congress without due process within days of an allegation being made is wrong. But it's also wrong for my constituents to have me distracted from my duties, end of quote. So Swalwell's seat could remain open until the November election. According to state law, if there's a vacancy in the final year of a U.S. representative's term and it's after the congressional filing deadline date, the governor does not have to call a special election to fill it. A swift fall for Eric Swalwell as the California congressman faced.
Oh, sorry about that. But yeah, so you know, Cole, I'm here to defend children. I'm here to defend victims, right? But guess what? He didn't defend them from the enemy, the predator, right in his own state. And that makes me call BS, right? That makes me call BS on Cole. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to put another black man down. But Cole, it's bull crap what you're saying, bro. It's absolute bull crap what you're saying. You didn't care about victims, Cole. Cole, you were literally radicalized against one man. Cole was radicalized against one man. And it's painfully obvious who that person was. And that man was Donald freaking flipping Trump. It's terrible. You threw your life away. And when he sits in that cell, I hope God gives him the wisdom to see that, yo, these dudes got me. They tricked me. They tricked me into doing their dirty work. Because I promise you, if Cole would have succeeded, the Democrats would have been like, sorry, we're sorry what happened to Donald Trump. And guess what they would have done? They would have moved right the hell on. They would have moved right the hell on. They would have had Vance be president. They would have tried to dismantle him over the next 2 years while stalling everything he tries to do in Congress or for the country. And they would have just moved the hell on. That's what they would have done. They don't care if you die. Look at what happened with Charlie Kirk. Charlie died. And you know what they did? They just moved right on. That's the name of the game. Get them out. Get them out. Pretend like you're sad that they died. And then just do it moving. But now you have the mainstream media now you have the mainstream media out here trying to use Cole Allen still. They're still trying to use Cole Allen. They're literally trying to use what he said in his manifesto and take what he said in his manifesto and weaponize it against Donald Trump, bro. They're literally trying to weaponize what he said about Donald Trump in this new CNN interview. And Trump is not having it. Bro's not having it. They're trying it, but bro's not putting up with it. He's like, dude, I love the way Trump goes at these people because he doesn't pull any punches with them. Let me go right here for y'all because 60 Minutes already got the interview.
Mr. President, thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
I'm glad you are safe. I am glad that everyone is safe. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. It was quite an evening. It was a very difficult thing to watch, frankly, but doing very well.
Mr. President, do you know if you were the target of the gunman?
I don't know. It sounded to me, I read a manifesto. He's radicalized. He was a Christian, a believer, and then he became an anti-Christian, and he had a lot of change. He's been going through a lot based on what he wrote. His brother complained about him, and I think reported him to the police, and his sister likewise complained about him. His family was very concerned. He was probably a pretty sick guy.
And I want to get to all of those details and also walk through this, what happened last night. But first, this appears to be the third attempted assassination on your life. The first in Butler, the second, of course, on the golf course in Florida. Why do you think so many people may be trying to kill you?
So I've said it, and I've said it numerous times, and I've actually, because of the position I'm in, I've done quite a bit of research into the word assassination, terrible word. And they go after consequential presidents. They go.
Listen, Donald Trump has to be politically correct. Why are people trying to kill him? Because for the past 10 years, the mainstream media has literally bombarded people's brains with the idea that this guy is evil, that he's going to destroy the country, that he's the Antichrist, he's going to end democracy, he's going to put people in camps, all this kind of crap. You still got media outlets talking about Project 2025 after Trump, and many scholars, many authorities have come out and say Trump has nothing to do with Project 2025, but that won't stop them from saying it. Excuse me, because our media, our news outlets, they've crossed over from being journalistic. They've crossed over from the point where they used to have journalistic integrity, and now they're doing Now they're doing nothing but engaging in fear-based programming of the public. Our media is trying to take over our political system. They want to be the ones who decides who is president, who gets elected, who gets into what office. And I'm not going to lie to you, they came very close in 2024. If we would have elected Kamala Harris to the presidency when she was totally inept and moronic, the mainstream media would have established as fact that they have more power over the American public when it comes to our political decision making than we do, or than any candidates, a speech any candidate can give, a billboard or advertisement that any candidate can post up. The mainstream media wants to control the flipping political apparatus of our country. They want to become kingmakers, and we've allowed them to operate in that way for too long. I feel like they need to eliminate all entertainment value from news channels. They need to say, look, you can't do entertainment shows if you want to spread the news. You better make that news entertaining as hell while maintaining journalistic integrity. It's wrong that CNN could do an interview like this and say this is journalism, and then right after this happens, they bring a comedian on to talk shit about the president and say things, in a satirical way, but they'll present them as facts. It's wrong to do that. It's purpose. They're being purposely deceptive with the way they're disseminating information.
After president said, do things. If you look at what I've done, we've turned this country around. We've taken a country that was actually a dead country. It was dying very rapidly, and it's the hottest country anywhere in the world. We had a skirmish, a war, whatever you want to call it, with Venezuela. We won that very decisively, and we now have a great relationship with Venezuela. It's been a very profitable relationship, and we're in Iran right now. Other presidents should have done it, but they never chose to do it. They should have. They made a terrible mistake by not doing it. It's tougher now than it would have been 10 years ago or even 5 years ago, because they had thousands and thousands of missiles and everything else. If we didn't do the B-2 bomber attack, that alone was a big deal. The killing of Soleimani, which I did in my first term, was a big deal. But when you're consequential, when you do things, a lot of things, and things that work out very well for our country, Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. McKinley was assassinated. McKinley made the country very rich. People don't realize that. Then Teddy Roosevelt went out and spent the money that was made by McKinley, but he was very consequential, actually. But
I mean, let's be real. The Democrats have no policies. They have nothing that they can offer the American people to vote for them other than hope that when they get power this time, it'll be different. We sat under 4 years of Joe Biden. It was a disaster. Immediately after, the Democrats spent 4 years complaining about Trump. They didn't spend 4 years writing a battle plan as to how they're going to help the American people and do so much for the American people that the American people will have no choice but to vote them in. No. They colluded with China. They colluded with Fauci to basically make the United States a hellscape. The George Floyd nonsense, the COVID stuff, and they said, well, we're not going to offer you anything better. We're going to just make Trump look so bad, right? You were going to try to make Trump look so bad that you can never vote for him again. That's all it's about. I don't want to vote Democrat because they made the other guy look bad, or things will be worse if you vote for him. I want to vote Democrat because the Democrats are offering me something tangibly, not just as a black man, but as an American. And they are telling you, just like in that California governor debate, where all the Democrats on stage told the people of California, we're not going to give you anything. We're going to raise your taxes. Gavin Newsom, they asked him to give him a grade on how he ran the state and how he did homeless. They said he got an A. Overall, his average grade was an A- or a B+ from the Democrats. The Democrats are in California. The Democrats are in other states screaming the rich should pay their fair share. But in Democrat land, California, they are giving A grade on homelessness to a governor who spent over $37 billion fighting homelessness, but can't tell you where the money went, can't account for the money at all. Look at the cities, look at the states, and let that be a precursor. Let that be a warning to you about what these people plan to do in the future. What you see them doing in New York, what you see them doing in Virginia, what you see them doing in California, what you see them doing in Maryland, that is their dream for the entire country. A legal money laundering scheme that is propped up by a bunch of poor people who will continue to vote for these people because they believe that because they are receiving free handouts, and they will fight you and kill you if you even attempt to replace these people, because they believe that the minute you get rid of these people, their benefits will stop. They are literally trying to buy the power in this country, buy the presidency. And the mainstream media, including but not limited to 60 Minutes, is helping them. They are helping them. Joe Dirt, I put the link to call in the comments. If you guys have opinions on this, you are more than welcome to call in. But Trump is not having it. He did her a favor by giving her this interview, and she tries to sabotage Trump. She's over here digging for forever content so that she can have a soundbite or a clip that they can use to dehumanize and demonize Trump for years after he leaves office, and he didn't give it to her.
I was waiting for you to read that because I knew you after he passed at one point.
The so-called manifesto is a stunning thing to read, Mr. President. He appears to reference a motive in it. He writes this, quote, "Administration officials, they are targets." And he also wrote this: "I am no longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, and traitor to coat my hands with his crimes." What's your reaction to that?
Well, I was waiting for you to read that because I knew you would, because you're horrible people, horrible people. Yeah, he did write that.
How was that appropriate? This man just is facing his 4th assassination attempt, and you want to read some shit that people are posting. There's nothing profound about what this dude said. This is typical bull crap that you see on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, written by 19-year-old, 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds with no life, with no accomplishments, just trying to demonize. Bro, why didn't this guy go after Eric Swalwell if he was trying to go after rapists and predators? Eric Swalwell's in your own state, brother. If the mission was to get rid of predators, bro could have got Eric Swalwell, Bill Gates, probably could have got his hands close to Bill Clinton before he got his hands on Trump. I keep telling everybody, this has nothing to do with morality. This has nothing to do with virtue. These people have been programmed by our media, by the Democrat Party, and by these radical liberals to hate Trump. That's it. They have blinders on to the people who are really abusing it. Why bro didn't go after Diddy? Shit. It's too many predators in this country to say, well, I'm going to just go after the president because he's a predator.
I'm not a rapist. I didn't rape anybody.
Do you think he was referring to you?
Excuse me. I'm not a pedophile. You read that crap from some sick person. I got associated with all stuff that has nothing to do with me. I was totally exonerated. Your friends on the other side of the plate are the ones that were involved with, let's say, Epstein or other things. But I said to myself, I'll do this interview and I read the manifesto, he's a sick person, but you should be ashamed of yourself reading that because I'm not any of those things.
Mr. President,
and I
these
was
are
never,
the gunman's words.
excuse me. You shouldn't be reading that on 60 Minutes. You're a disgrace. But go ahead. Let's finish the interview.
The other thing that he wrote in
He said, you're a disgrace. And she's just like, okay, I am a disgrace. Again, look, reporters say what they have to say to get paid. They do what they have to do to get paid. They don't have emotion regarding what they're doing. They don't care if they're misleading people. They're getting paid. And these media outlets, they know that you could bring way more people in with negativity than you can with positivity, right? You learn that when you do social media. People want drama. People don't give a fuck about victims. They're watching because they want the drama. They want the tea. They want the content. They wouldn't care. Listen, why aren't we calling for Bill Gates to be arrested? I'm asking you a question. I'm asking all y'all. Why aren't we camped out of Eric Swalwell's house? Why aren't Mexicans trying to knock down the door of the predator, the proven predator, Eric Swalwell's house? Because it's proven, well, there are women who have video evidence, photos, texts, that this guy was preying on them. Why aren't they over there doing that? Because, look, here's the thing. People are like, release the Epstein files. Okay. But until the Epstein files are released, you have no proof that Trump did anything. And there are people, congressmen, congresswomen, judges, all that, who have read the Epstein files. Obviously, there is nothing in the Epstein files that incriminates Trump. We've all come to the same conclusion that any smart person comes to. If Biden read the Epstein files, y'all, Democrats did everything they could to keep Trump from getting elected. If there was one paragraph in the Epstein files that incriminated Trump, they would have redacted every part of that damn file except for that one paragraph where it talks about what Trump did, and they would have ran on that in 2024 and eliminated Trump from the presidency. They would have got his ass out of there so they could run and try to win against a lesser candidate. They didn't do it. All the accusations against Trump are retroactive, and they are based on the fact that our society is incredibly hypocritical and ignorant. Eric Swalwell, the predator, is sleeping soundly and safely at his home tonight. Bill Gates, proven predator, sleeping safely and soundly at his home tonight. Prince Andrew, proven predator, sleeping safely and soundly at his home tonight. Whilst a deranged gunman is trying to kill Trump based on accusations that are totally unproven and have been challenged and dismissed by even the detectives who investigated it and the victims who were supposedly abused. Most of the women, all of the women except one, said, I've never even met Donald Trump. But yeah, he was on Epstein Island. The women who were on Epstein Island literally have said, we've never met Trump. The news media outlets have said Trump had never went to Epstein Island. Trump's in the Epstein files. They tell you all the time. The Epstein files contain any mention of a person that of a person who's mentioned, concerning Epstein. Even if it was news outlets reporting about it, media outlets, anything, articles, anything, that is all in the Epstein files. So if Trump's mentioned in Epstein files over 20,000 times, well, dude, there were hundreds and thousands of articles written about the Epstein files and about Trump's friendship with Epstein. So of course he'll be mentioned. But there's a difference between being mentioned and a woman saying, yo, bro abused me, bro raped me.
You're disgraceful.
The other thing in the manifesto that I think is worth looking at in terms of determining his motive is he had been staying at the hotel since Friday. He checked in, he said he had cased the place, and he wrote, what the hell is the Secret Service doing? And he wrote this quote, I expected security cameras at every bend, bugged hotel rooms, armed agents every 10 feet, metal detectors out the wazoo. What I got is nothing. He wrote, like, this level of incompetence is insane. Sir, you have already had two
Well, he was
attempted
pretty incompetent too because he got caught, and he got
Yeah,
caught
right.
pretty easily.
Right.
So I'd say he was pretty incompetent too. You know, I could take any event having to do with security or anything else. I can always find fault, no matter what. I can take a baseball team that won the game 18-0 and say they should have played better. Those guys did a good job last night. They did a really good job.
And, you know, the thing I like about Trump is he gives credit where credit is due. Everybody wants to come down on the Secret Service. Even I'm coming down on the Secret Service. But Trump is very smart. And this is a product of being successful in the fact that he knows it's like being on a football team. If you're the quarterback, don't you ever insult your offensive line because they're all you got. They're the only thing standing between you and certain death. Any quarterback from any team will tell you the offensive line could be absolute garbage. You will never hear a quarterback in any league speak and talk against his offensive line because for you, they are what's standing between you and life and death. And Trump treats the Secret Service like that. Did they do the best they could do? Well, here's the thing. You got to look at the stats, right? And what I notice about black people, only time we want to look at the stats is when we're talking about LeBron James' sorry ass. Oh, but he scored the most points, but he sucks, right? No, but what about the stats? But we're not looking at the stats. Did bro get past the first security perimeter? No, he did not. Did he even make it to the second security checkpoint? No, he did not. Did he make it in the hotel? Well, yeah, the hotel was still operational. Guests were still being allowed to stay at the hotel. Why wouldn't they? You're just renting out a banquet hall, a ballroom. Do they shut down the hotel when your family do a family reunion or a wedding at a hotel? Hell no. You guys are using this ballroom and everybody else will be business as usual. But did bro get past the first line of defense? No, he did not. He literally didn't do shit. His whole mission was totally ineffective. He shot a Secret Service agent, bulletproof vest stopped that. But people are like, look at security. It's terrible. No, it's not. They did a good job, I would say. I mean, they moved a little slow on that stage. I personally don't understand why they didn't flip up the table and get the president down behind that and then let him crawl off the stage. I mean, damn, let me see some movie type shit. But beyond that, the guy didn't get past the first security. That's like you telling somebody, "Oh, I'm a rob a bank." You don't get through the front door, but you're saying that you got deep into the bank and were close to opening the safe. No, bro, you didn't even get past the front door. You didn't even get past the front door, really. That's why he tried to run. Because he probably was in the hotel the day before or whatever, and he walked past it a couple times, and he probably was like, "Yo, look, it looks lax." But then when he went down at the day of the event, security was probably way tighter. So he said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna just try to run in." Bro got cooked. He got cooked, and I appreciate Trump not shitting on the Secret Service. Do I think there's some things that need to be addressed? Of course. But my thing is, look at the hypocrisy here. Even if you look in the comments, oh, dumb Trump, Trump's a pedophile, Trump's right. So is Eric Swalwell. Why you don't hear none of these people going after him? I mean, Trump is not, but I'm saying, let's say that's true. So is Eric Swalwell. So is Bill Gates. So is Bill Clinton. So is Prince Andrew. So are a bunch of people mentioned in the Epstein files. They mentioned Whoopi Goldberg. Why isn't she being arrested? But you guys don't care about that. You guys only care about Trump. And that's why we're not ever going to find common ground, because everything you guys say and do is rooted in hypocrisy. You're not going to get rid of our president on some hypocritical whataboutism bullshit. It's not happening. It's not happening. The sane Americans still outnumber the idiots. Understand that. You are not in Tehran and they curse Trump. You ain't got to lie, baby. What you mean? Of course, Tehran curses every American. They chant death to America every single day. So that ain't nothing. That ain't nothing. I don't care about that. They can go straight to hell as Trump sends them there with missiles. Tell them to go and say that today. One leg, burnt lip Ayatollah. Look, you can't hurt our feelings because we see the hypocrisy, and the hypocrisy that that you guys are displaying is like, it makes us understand why we made this. It makes us more satisfied with the decision that we made. Hey, shout out to everybody in the comments. We have a $5 challenge going on. We're asking for $5 super chats, 5 super chats of $5 or more, just to help support the stream. If you're in a position to do so, you can click the little $sign in the bottom right hand corner of your screen. Or if you don't have super chat feature available, you can click the link, Cash App or PayPal. It is available pinned to the top of the chat. Do the Trump walk. Okay, guys, listen, there's something I gotta talk about. We're gonna pivot hard, right? Recently I went and watched the Michael Jackson movie. Did anybody see the Michael Jackson movie? If you saw the Michael Jackson movie, give me a 1 in the chat. And if you're watching this post-production, give me a 1 in the comments if you saw the Michael Jackson movie. And if you can, tell me what you think, because I'll go back in and read and see if I agree. I have a huge problem with the story of Michael Jackson, not just in this movie, but also the original miniseries called The American Dream, right? There is a certain man who is, in my opinion, demonized, right, in every account of the telling of or retelling of the Michael Jackson story. And no, no, that man is not Coleman Domingo. That man is Joe Jackson. I really don't like the way Joe Jackson is constantly demonized when the story of Michael Jackson is retold every time. Joe Jackson was a man in the 1960s and 70s. In the 1960s and 50s, black people whooped their kids. White people whooped their kids, and their kids were better off for it. Okay. In an interview, I remember them asking Joe Jackson, the real Joe Jackson, did you ever beat your children? He said, no, not really. I didn't like beat them. You know, I whoop them, but I didn't beat them. So then they asked Michael Jackson, were you ever beat by your father? Michael Jackson says, yes, many times. And then they go back to Joe Jackson and say, well, they say you used to beat him all the time. He said, oh, okay. Well, I guess they could cry their way to the bank. It was customary. It was culturally normal to whoop your kids if they misbehaved or if you perceived that they disrespected you. Now, when I watched the movie, there's one thing that I noticed. Joe Jackson did whoop Michael, right? The other boys really didn't get a lot of whoopings, but I'm sure them being older, they grew up getting those same ass whoopings, and they knew, hey, look, daddy gonna whoop that ass if he feel like you out of line, right? But what I saw was a father remove his belt and whoop his son on his butt. I didn't see him punch him, body slam him, kick. None of what people would say is abuse. He whooped his son with a leather belt on his butt. Didn't strip him down, didn't get the extension cord, didn't get the shit I used to get, because I used to get my ass killed when I was little, and I was bad. I was terrorizing shit. But he whooped his son on the butt. And as Michael got older, he had resentment towards his father, I think in many ways, because his mother used to coddle him a lot, right? His mother kind of was like the opposite, right? Kind of like good cop, bad cop. She was a very sensitive person. And Michael got his sensitive nature from his mother. It's obvious, right? That's fine. But as Mike is growing up in the movie, you know, He's challenging his dad, and he's challenging his dad's, ability to control his career, right? And obviously, Joe Jackson is, he's not happy about that, because anyone who builds something up to be successful, they're going to have an issue with someone trying to change things, even if that is one of the artists, right? And also, Joe Jackson has to look at things holistically. I have to think about the whole family. So Michael is kind of like, I want to do my own thing. I want to be my own person. I want to have my own thoughts, right? But Joe Jackson as a father is like, bro, we got to do what's best for everybody, because if we don't keep this thing going, everybody going to be homeless, right? It's natural, and it takes place in every parenting dynamic. It don't matter if you rich, you poor, none of that. Your children, as they get older, they will work harder and harder to separate you from who they are as a person. They will pursue their own individualism and their own identity. And Michael was not wrong for that. But at the same time, as children do that, parents resist them. They fight against them doing that, because in your parents' eyes, you will always be their baby, and they will always believe that they know what's best for you. I don't understand why Joe Jackson is demonized for doing something that every single parent does. My daughter plays volleyball. Do you know how many parents ain't played volleyball a day in their damn life, but be yelling out instructions on the volleyball court when their kid is on the court? Bro, you 400 pounds with a gut hanging down to the floor, and you screaming to your daughter, you need to do this, you need to do it, because parents just believe they know what's best for their kids, even if they really don't. They observe and they see where they could try to fix things. That's the nature of being a parent. And if they got something good going, go to any rich person. They are overprotective of their children. Look at LeVar Ball. Look at is his name Richard Williams. Look at any father with a successful Black child, and they are a bit overbearing, because they understand that they're dealing with something very precious, and they know that people are like wolves out here. And I'm just tired of that. I'm tired of like Joe Jackson and present Black fathers being demonized by the mainstream media and by pop culture. Just because a Black father gives a fuck, it doesn't mean he's abusive. Just because he adopts a firm tone with you, that doesn't mean he's abusing you. I know my kid better than you do. I know when my kid is giving 100%. I know when my kid's feeling sorry for themselves. And I know when my kid is checked out better than you. How you going to tell me I'm being too hard on my kid? Literally, my daughter plays volleyball. There's a coach. Her daughter is on the team. Bro, she'll go in on her daughter, right? About her performance on volleyball. If I say something to my daughter, one time I said something to my daughter, I was like, when you out there, you got to give 100%. You looking a little bit sluggish, right? I played sports. I know how some days you're out of it, some days you're into it, but you got to show up, right? You can't let your team down. She gonna walk up to me and say, are you a coach? I said, no, but I'm the person who pays you. And if I'm telling her, that means you're not telling her. I don't see you coaching my daughter up the way you coaching your daughter up. And I'm not coaching her because I don't know shit about volleyball. All I'm doing is saying, give it your best if you're going to get out there. If you don't feel well, just let me know. We can go home. Or we could just cheer for the team on the sidelines if you're not feeling good. My daughter went out there, block, 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 kill, 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 kill. Sometimes you need a pep talk. But no one is going to talk to our fucking kids, man. No one's going to go to our Black kids and be like, hey, this, that, and the third. You need to, they're not going to do it. They treat Black kids in a way like they used to treat slaves at the auction. Either you're going to deliver or you're not. Either you're going to be on the field scoring touchdowns or you're going to be on the sideline. Y'all saw the movie Friday Night Lights. They ready to booby miles your kid in a heartbeat, especially nowadays when coaches are afraid to even say anything to players because they don't want to get lawsuits, they don't want to get sued, and they don't want to get fired. So if the coach can't say what coaches used to say to your kid, who's going to say it if you don't? And every day I see kids slipping through the cracks because the coaches don't want to say nothing to them and the parents don't want to say nothing to them. I admire dudes like Joe Jackson. I admire dudes like LeVar Ball, Richard Williams. Were there things they could have done differently? Yeah, but what parent couldn't have done something differently than the way they did it? That's the nature of parenting. You learn parenting your first kid, and you don't make those same mistakes parenting your second kid. Joe Jackson knew how to raise sons. Bro had like 6 sons. You think Jermaine, Tito, go down the line. He didn't abuse none of them. So you think he was abusing Michael? Think about it. Joe Jackson was an old ass man. How much abusing could he really do? But I'll tell you one thing though. Michael want to get a giraffe. Okay. Michael want to get a llama. Okay. Michael want to get a monkey. Okay. Michael want to get a snake. Okay. Michael want to get a spider. Okay. Michael want to get 12 dogs. Okay. That sounds like an abusive, controlling parent to you? As a father, I would have been like, hell fucking no. You get animals that are on this content naturally. You ain't getting nothing shipped from Africa or nowhere else to this bitch. He wasn't an abusive parent. He had a kid who looked at his dad as being overbearing and controlling. How most kids look at their fathers. Most children look at their parents as overbearing and controlling. It's just the way it is. That's the name of the game. And if you go talk to your kid, ask him, do you feel like I'm overbearing and controlling? Look, hold on. My daughter's right here. Look, listen. Let me ask you a question. Do you feel that I am overbearing and controlling? Honestly speaking. No. Honestly speaking, be honest.
No.
What do you think is a negative aspect of your father? Like, as far as our relationship is concerned?
I can't really think of anything right now.
Nothing at all. No time where I embarrass you or dang, I wish my dad would stop doing that. Anything like that.
I mean, you talk about politics a lot. Like all the time now.
Okay.
That's pretty much it.
Okay. So you in many ways you hate that.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay. But beyond that, not really a lot to complain about.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so my daughter, you talk about politics too much. Do I talk about it? Yeah, even you guys are like, dude, you're talking about politics too much. It's just me. That's what I'm doing now. I'm in another phase of my life. Cool. I'm not offended by that. That doesn't hurt my feelings. It doesn't bother me. I get it. Her feelings are valid about that. Does that mean I'm an abusive parent who's being controlling and vindictive? If my daughter gets on TV, like, man, my dad always trying to talk about politics. Oh man, his daughter said he was a tyrant who was a crazy Trump supporting lunatic. That's what the news media was spinning, right? But just understand, and even understand this too. We benefit from having the internet. We can get on the internet and say, my kid is doing this. How do I deal with that? We can get a therapist on our cell phone and talk to them. Joe Jackson didn't have none of that. He was raising sons in Gary fucking Indiana in the 1950s. But all of a sudden, shit that was normal in the 1950s is abusive. But that's how it is retroactively. When you look back at it, yeah, it could have been done different. That's normal. That's normal. So why do we continuously try to demonize this dude? Joe Biden was taking showers with his 14-year-old daughter. But we voted him president. Think about that. Joe Biden was taking showers with his 14-year-old daughter. She wrote it in her book. And we elected him president. But Joe Jackson is the problem. Let me ask you a question that I asked my homie the other day, right? They were in Gary, Indiana. You know Gary, Indiana, right? Y'all know Gary, Indiana, right? Okay, y'all know Gary, Indiana. We see all the bad stories about Gary, Indiana. You know, it's a problem. It's a problem. Gary, Indiana, as of 3 years ago, was known as America's most dangerous city. And even now, there are still homicides and everything else occurring in Gary, Indiana. This is still a dangerous place, right? I'm going to ask y'all a very serious question right here, right now. I'm going to play this and I'm going to ask y'all a serious question. Facts, sucker season. Gary is a city located in Lake County, Indiana. Gary was founded in 1906. I don't care about reading all that crap. Where's the killing? Over the years, Gary has experienced significant population decline. I was in Gary, Indiana. I went to go see the old Michael Jackson, the old Jackson home, right? Like many industrial cities, Gary has faced urban decay, right? It was just, when you go to Gary, it's literally just miles and miles of like abandoned houses, bro. Miles and miles of abandoned houses.
All right, everyone. I am in Gary, Indiana.
It looks horrible.
Let me show you on the map real quick, just to give you an idea. See the blue dot? Gary is a suburb of Chicago.
Yes.
Right there on Lake Michigan. Now, no town or city has been disparaged and maligned in my comment sections as much as Gary. Common comments are, well, it's bad, but it's no Gary, Indiana.
Look at this.
Or,
this is Gary, Indiana.
This place is Beverly Hills compared to Gary, Indiana. So, of course, here I am. I've got to see it for myself. Now, the story is pretty simple when it comes to Gary.
It's just
and
crap.
Astonishingly.
Just run down. People getting killed. Look at houses abandoned. You can buy a house in Gary, Indiana right now for $5,000. You can buy a house in Gary, Indiana for $5,000 right now. Just all run down, right? And you will get killed.
They should be.
There are thugs all over that city who will kill you, right?
They're not, sadly.
Now, you guys get the idea of how Gary, Indiana looks. Okay, so Joe Jackson was raising 6 boys in Gary, Indiana. 6 boys and like 2 or 3 girls in Gary, Indiana, right? Let me ask you this question. Did Gary, Indiana improve or decline once Joe Jackson stopped giving ass whoopings and left Gary, Indiana? Did it get better or did it get worse? Everybody will agree it got way worse. Why were men able to raise families in that town? And the crime rate was extremely low. Nobody was killing each other in the city because they were instilling discipline. If you watch The American Dream, the old Michael Jackson movie, one of the brothers had to fight a boy who was trying to bully him. His daddy made him fight that dude. Hey, you gotta stand up for yourself. He wasn't abusing his sons. He was teaching them how to be men. And maybe Michael, because he was more sensitive, it had a different effect on him. But guess what? He made every last one of his sons a success. They left Gary, Indiana behind, and they never looked back. And the Jackson family thrived, and Gary, Indiana went to shit. Gary, Indiana needed more Joe Jacksons. They needed people who believed in their kids. One of the things I feel when you deal with these like these parents who are like, oh, just positive reinforcement. You just don't believe in your kid. You believe your kid is a soft ass punk who can't do shit and it's fragile as glass. So if you push him too hard, you'll break him. I don't think my daughter is fragile. She's a young woman, but she ain't gonna break. I've seen her do amazing things that thoroughly impressed me. Damn, she did that, right? But she's not fragile. She's not glass. So I know if I push her a little harder, she's gonna rise to the occasion. That's what Joe Jackson did. He pushed his kids till they were successful. If they really didn't want to sing and shit, just miss some steps. Sing off key. Nigga would have kicked you out the group. You remember how hard Marlon had to work just to get in the group? So it wasn't a thing where he was like, I'm just forcing everybody to be in the Jackson 5. If you remember, I think it was his name Ronnie? You remember Ronnie? He was in after like damn near when he was an adult. It was actually Jackson 6. Joe Jackson, who taught him the dance steps? Who taught him how to sing, play the instruments? Joe Jackson did that. And then but what happens is when the Hollywood vultures can't control you because you have a strong father standing in their way, they have a system where they demonize the father so that then they try to demonize him to you and demonize him to the public to force the father to step back. The NBA did it with LeVar Ball. World Tennis Association did it with Richard Williams. And the music industry did it with Joe Jackson. And what's funny is you got people out here talking about, oh, the Jews in the music industry, they taking advantage of these young rappers and shit. But when the fathers was there, stand between these kids in the influence in the vultures, y'all had a problem with it. Make up your damn mind, black folks. Do you want the fathers in the home to help keep the kids safe from people who want to exploit them? Or do you want to get rid of the fathers so they can go out and be exploited by someone else? Because my granddaddy and my granny used to say, look, man, if we don't whoop the kids, the police gonna whoop them. Go do to the police what these kids be doing to their parents. Watch your ass end up on a stretcher. And then don't get to prison trying to pull that same shit. Your ass gonna end up on life support. Don't whoop your kids. But as soon as your kid out in the street acting like an animal, now you're gonna whoop your kids. Everybody knows what's going on in Chicago. Chicago is like 30 minutes from Gary. When the Joe Jacksons left or were incarcerated or got hooked on dope, those cities went to shit. When the strong fathers, the strong male figures left, those cities went to shit. Yet they're still trying to demonize the strong father, the strong black father who was doing a job that up until now they cannot do. Their answer is put them in jail or let them terrorize. Go put 50 strong black fathers with families back in Gary, Indiana today and start and make the police actually arrest criminals. That city will be thriving again. That city will be thriving in 10 years. Real talk. So don't be disrespecting Joe Jackson around me. Other than that, it was a great movie. I loved it. Everybody should go see it. But when you watch that movie, give Joe a break, man. Mike was going against his father and shit 100%. Oh, Larisha. Michael Jackson and his family were raised strict Jehovah's Witnesses. His mother, Catherine Jackson, converted in 1963 and raised all her children in faith, influencing their lifestyle. And you didn't see Joe like, F that Jehovah's Witness crap. Y'all can't do it. He was not that controlling. He was passionate about music, and he was like most parents, if you get your ass out there on stage, you better do it right. Dude, yeah, it's hard having a 6-year-old be your damn leading singer. It's hard. Look at Macaulay Culkin's parents. They divorced over, he had to like emancipate himself from his father to keep his father from stealing his money. Joe Jackson, no reports of drug abuse, no reports of a gambling problem, no reports of stealing his kids' money, no unpaid bills, none of that. They had the Jackson estate. It was up and running. Everybody had what they needed. To me, that is a success as a father. No real scandals with Joe Jackson. The only dirt they got on him, he was abusive. No, he was doing what all fathers did in damn 1950. Those kids get out of line, they getting their ass whooped. Yeah, Michael just didn't like him, but it's a lot of people who don't like their dad. He's mean, he's this, he's that. Yeah, he didn't like his dad's personality. That happens. My daughter just sat and said, "You talk too much about politics." Okay. You think she didn't like everything about me? There, dude, my daughter used to come from practice or school, and she'd be like, "Why my friends think like you're just like the meanest person on earth?" I'm like, "I don't know." She was like, "They think you look scary, so they assume that you're mean." And my daughter is laughing like, "My dad is not mean. My dad's like cool. He's not mean at all." People will look at you and they'll make a whole judgment about the way you treat your family, the way you treat your wife, the way you treat your children, just off of looks, while voting for a dude who took baths with his 14-year-old daughter, Joe Biden. But yeah, so guys, look, that's what it is. Go check out the Michael movie. Very good. If your ass is black, you ain't long enough. That's how we are, but it's very good. Very good. Highly recommended. I give it like a 9 out of 10. So go handle your business. Thank y'all for watching this. I gotta go. I got work to do. I got a job, baby. So I'll talk to y'all later, right? We'll be back tomorrow. Peace.